composing myself, so I just start crying. Like when I have a Bible study that I attend, and I spoke in front of about 300 women, but I wanted to say something, but instead of being calm, my voice was trembling, crying, and I just was like, I can't get through this.
Well, that's speaking in front of a lot of people, though.
Yeah, it is.
So what goes through your mind when you're standing there behind the podium and you see the audience in front of you?
Well, I do get, I kind of think I want to do this. You know, I tell myself in my mind that I want to do this. I want to learn how to speak in front of others. I aspire to do that. I know in my career coming up, I'm going to have to speak in front of groups. But then I start just kind of worrying about being up there, and I start feeling like the feelings come into my eyes, and then I start crying. And I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why can't I control that feeling? And so then I can't really stop it from happening.
So I'm hearing that's important to you. You feel like you have a lot of things and important things to say, and it's important to you for people to hear you and understand what you have to say. But at the same time, you're afraid that your nerves betray you, and you're not able to come across and say what you have in your mind or what God gives you in your heart to say.
Yeah, I do feel betrayed by my nerves, because I want to stop that. I want to be able to look at the crowd and say what I need to say, and look, I want to look confident, and I want to feel good about my presentation, and I don't want to be embarrassed in front of a group, and it does embarrass me when I start crying.
How long have you been giving speeches or presenting in front of a big crowd?
Well, I did do some in high school, and when I was in college, I got selected to speak in front of the larger university. I had it was a public speaking class, and so I gave a presentation, and they selected me, but I was so afraid that I didn't go through with it. So I did that in college, and then sometimes I'll speak in smaller groups, or in, now in my counseling program. I want to speak in front of the group, but I just start getting so nervous. But I think since high school, so many years, but I always still kind of get nervous like that.
So I'm hearing that you've had a little bit of experience from the past in public speaking, but you still want to get better at it and feel more confident about it.
That's right. When I was younger, I would sometimes sing in front of church, but I would start crying, and then I would see people in the crowd, like maybe they were snickering, younger boys, and then I have older brothers, and sometimes they tease me, so I don't know if maybe that's holding me back, if possibly the fear that people will make fun of me is kind of what happened when I was younger, if that's what's holding me back from now being more confident and just practicing and getting to the point where I can actually speak in front of someone without crying.
So I'm also sensing that you somehow feel frustrated with yourself. When you stand in front of the big crowd, you have so much to say, but when the tears come out, you feel impotent, like you didn't get everything that you had planned out because of your fear of public speaking.
Yeah, I want to say what it is, and I want to get to the point too where maybe I don't have to use my notes as much. But then I'm looking down at my notes, and then I'm starting to, the worry is building up, and then I start crying, and then I'm like, I can't get through. Yeah, I can't get through the process of getting from the beginning, because if I walk up to the stage, I feel sort of okay at that point. And then when I get there and I look at my notes, that's when I start getting more fearful, and then I'm talking and I can't always get through to the end.
Well, public speaking, I think it's hard no matter how many times you've done it. The audience is a different audience all the time, so you just get a little bit of a spike of nervousness, even though you've done it before or you may feel confidence about doing it. You still get that little spike, but you overcome it as you know, take off and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so if I, also sometimes if I write, I like to write, so I want to say things because I feel as if it could really help someone. But then I know it comes from my heart, so I feel I can tell the tears are going to come from my heart, but then how do I say it out without crying so that someone can hear the very important message, you know, that I have written without me, you know, embarrassing. That's, I just get embarrassed that I can't finish the thought that I know is important for someone to hear.
So I'm sensing that you have a very good heart and you want to help people and you want to like guide people and give them a good advice, but at the same time you feel like you might be too emotional. Like if you let your tears out, you're gonna be too emotional and people are not gonna hear you or see your message the same way.
Right, and they might not look at me as a stable person that they should listen to because I can't get through this talk or the speech, and I might not be invited to even a more professional setting because they want someone who can actually get through the speech without crying.
So I'm sensing that more of like a fear of public speaking. You're afraid of portraying yourself as being too emotional and less powerful at public speaking.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that is just trying to realize in one way I do feel, you know, like I've been told that, you know, my speaking is good and that I've been selected to do something. So if I continue to tell myself that's true, then why can't my emotions get in line with that viewpoint and say it's not true, no one's going to make fun of you, and just be able to go to a setting and say what I need to say without having this emotion come over me.
So I'm hearing that your main struggle is trying to align your emotions to your ability of public speaking.
Yeah, I would like to help myself say, self, you have the ability to do this. You know, people have told you that you're good at this and they want to hear more from you. So help yourself get to the point where you can actually get through the setting without having the emotion come over you and debilitate you that you can't say this important thing that people want to hear and that I have been able to come up with to present to a group and to possibly be invited to more professional settings and be able to speak to those groups.
And can you tell me a little bit more about when the emotions do come out? How do you deal with it?
Well, when they come out, I just try to stop it, but I just can't really stop the crying. And so I just feel kind of stuck there, like I'm in front of a crowd and I'm crying and I'm embarrassed, but now I'm trying to get through. And then I just, like the one time when I spoke in front of the Bible study, I did get through to the end, but by the end my voice was trembling and everyone, you know, could see. And so I felt, there were some positive looks from the crowd. It wasn't like people were laughing at me at that point, but I was able to get to the end, but I felt just like my nerves were like heightened awareness, but I couldn't stop the feeling of why can't you stop crying, and why can't you get through this without stopping crying? And that's kind of how I felt through the time when I had said what I wanted to say in front of the group.
Well, it takes a lot of courage when you have like a powerful message and it's like more spiritual. I think your emotions and your spirit get in tune with what you have to say. So, I mean, you have a lot of courage and ability to be able to stand up and do that. You mentioned that you like to write your speeches before you do it. Do you rehearse it ahead of time as well?
I have a little. I think if I could do more of that, I want to think about maybe practicing more I don't practice a lot. I just write down and then I take it with me. And sometimes if I think of something at the moment, I would like to add that, but I feel so overwhelmed with emotion at that time that I can't really think off script. So I do try to, but I want to practice more. So no, I don't practice a lot.
Well, you also mentioned that when you were younger,
Mm-hmm.
you were selected to give, public speeches,
Mm-hmm.
and that at church you sang. Did you have any bad experiences when you were younger, that people judged you or they made critical comments about your speech or your fear of public speaking in the past?
Yeah, when I was little, I'm the youngest of two brothers, and my one brother would tease me a lot, and so I think that is something, I'm not sure if maybe that's holding me back, because the teasing really was hurtful. And then if I was singing, or I would see them snickering like out in the crowd, and sometimes I was just teased a lot when I was little. So I think if I think about that, maybe now, I feel like people are going to kind of judge me for crying, like I'm too emotional, that I can't give this speech. Just like when I was little, when I had brothers and other people in my church who did that at that point.
So it seems like when you're standing right now as an adult giving a professional speech or like in front of your congregation, like scenes from your past, from your childhood, of your younger brother or your friends like teasing you or making critical comments about you comes into your mind, and that just makes you more nervous of speaking today.
It could be. It's just that's the hard part for me to understand. I'm so much older now, and I have had more opportunity to speak in public, but there's just still something there that I can't stop the emotion from overwhelming me to be able to get through a presentation. And I want to do that, and even in class, when I have classes, I want to be able to speak in front of the group and not have that emotion come over me.
What do you mean when you say there's something in there that still stops me from
That's
giving
the part,
it?
I'm just not sure what it is. I don't know if it's that I'm worried about people that will make fun of me, or I just have something, an emotional thing that is such a fear for me that prevents me from being able to give a presentation and look competent to the group.
So I'm hearing that you're trying to find out whether your fear today comes from your past experiences, from your brother teasing you, or if it's just that you're an emotional person and that's the way you are and that's the way you come out when you're in front of people.
Yeah, because then maybe if I accept it's part of me that I care, but if it's because I care a lot, how can I get in touch with that so that I can not cry when I have something valuable to say, so that people will listen and they'll say, wow, that person really had a lot to say, but they presented themselves well too. So I don't see, also sometimes when I see people and they can't get through a presentation, if they're crying, I kind of feel sad for them in a way, and that could be because I do that too. And I wish for them to be able to work on their tears also. So if I can just say, when I go in front of a group, maybe if I say to myself, I'm gonna cry if I go in front of a group, maybe it could help me to cry less. If I accept that, I know that I'm an emotional person, and if I go in front of this group, I could try saying, I might cry here, and if I don't cry, maybe I won't cry, or maybe I will.